You know, niggas gotta get their priorities together. Got their mind on the wrong things, spending their money in the wrong way.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Say you need that car with the rims and a trunk, just like Jim. It's more than life. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Talk to him.
Say you need that LV bag with the belt and the hat.
That's all you got though.
It's more than life. Yeah.
Talk to him. Real.
Say you wanna turn up at the club, like some bottles, impress them girls. It's more than life.
Fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Saints and Appetizers podcast and Huda. And we are back. And before we get into Saints versus New Orleans Saints versus San Francisco 49ers, and talk about the beard here. This is the winter beard, the NFL, the football season beard. I just wanted to point out that it's official. It's official. You know, we're growing a real quality filled in beard here to the point where there's no neck beard. There's no neck beard gone. And for people that grow full size beards like that can grow more than just a neck beard, usually nice to keep the neck beard trimmed, but also keep your upper lip trimmed, your mustache even, and some people even like shaving the jowls if you're wanting to keep it real nice and neat. I let it get a little crazy there for the football season, the winter months. But yeah, I got to take care of the neck beard. I got a lot more to grow than just that, so might as well clean that off of there and give you that nice line that you got going. But anyways, that's enough of me just getting that in for some of the podcast, the listeners out there that are just now hearing or knowing kind of what we do around here. We try to grow a beard out during the winter. That's kind of one of the things we do. We grow it out along with the football season, and as you can see, you can actually see it. It's showing up on video now, and as you can see, it'll be as you watch my podcast through the months, it'll just be growing and growing and growing. But anyways, that's enough of me. So let's get into this. This is Sunday. We have a game in New Orleans in the Caesars Superdome. This is New Orleans Saints at home versus the San Francisco 49ers, and this is Sunday, September 14th at 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And so this game is starting to kind of build up as one of the first games of the season where it looks like the Saints might be actually able to win. And I thought the Saints were going to maybe have to wait a little while after not being able to pull off the upset or the win against the Cardinals, because I kind of looked at the Cardinals as a team that's, you know, besides having a quarterback, which I don't think that Kyler Murray's like a top 10 quarterback or anything, maybe top 15. But besides that, I don't really look at the Cardinals as being that much better of a team. I guess they have an elite wide receiver. I keep going on and on. I can keep picking out things that they do have. It would be nice to have a quarterback, and it would be nice to have an elite big body receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. But besides those facts, I didn't really look at the Cardinals as that much better of a team, besides the fact that they have some stability at the quarterback position. So I thought, you know, a healthy 49ers team, and then having to go out west to Seattle and then have to come all the way back out to the Northeast, almost to Canada and Buffalo. I thought that for sure that now the Saints are going to be on a 0-3 winning streak, you know, lose 3 straight here. And then it might pick back up to where they have a chance to maybe beat the Giants or the Patriots at home, or even the Chicago Bears. That would be a pretty funny one for the Saints. That would be kind of like, I don't know if you'd call that Kellen Moore revenge game or Saints revenge game, because the head coach for the Bears head coach, I should know his name, seeing how how was such a big deal, and then fell kind of flat last week. Yeah, Ben Johnson. So yeah, because Ben Johnson didn't even want to talk to the Saints. So would that be a Saints revenge game if the Saints are able to beat them or embarrass them, or would that be Kellen Moore because that's who ended up becoming our coach? But yeah, but anyways, so now I was thinking like, yeah, there's the Saints are definitely going 0-4 now. But now we're looking at some of these injury reports, and they're looking pretty rough for the 49ers. The Saints injury report in itself is a tough one to deal with, but the 49ers, it might be close. Yeah, it's a little bit longer, and it has some starters and some notable names, and even their quarterback is even on there. So I wouldn't say it's worse than the Saints because most people were probably predicting a healthy 49ers team to be like an 8-point favorite coming into this game because the Cardinals were 6 or 7 point. And coming into this game now with all their injuries, I think they're still like a 2.5-point favorite. And it'd be interesting to see if that changes to a minus for the Saints being favorite for that game. But for right now, it's not. But I would say just with the injuries that they have, even though they got some at their quarterback position, which is a lot of most teams the most important position on the team, I still don't think that this just them being injured puts them on the same exact level or puts the Saints like far out in ahead of them that they should be winning this game. But anyways, let's get into these injury reports and we'll break down a couple losses of not having some of these guys, and same thing with the 49ers not having them. And then we'll try to get into MVPs, hot takes, and we'll try to pick and get you a score for this game. But anyways, so can I get a menu? And so the first thing we want to get into the Saints injuries to kind of understand what we're dealing with. It hadn't changed a whole lot from last week, so it's pretty much the same, except safety Julian Blackman shoulder, which he must have had some labrum tear or dislocated shoulder, some kind of labrum injury at the end, towards the end of the game against the Cardinals, or if you heard my opinion on that, I think it probably never was completely healed. It probably needed surgery, and that's why he was still a free agent to begin with. And Saints medical staff maybe just kind of overlooked it that, oh, it's healed up enough to where he's able to play and go through workouts, but it's not healed up enough to be going for diving for interceptions at the end of end of games, in fourth quarter of games, diving and trying to get interceptions like a shoulder. The labrum wasn't healed up enough for that business, but he didn't practice all week and is out. And but I'm sure sometime next week, I'm sure he'll be put on IR, season IR, from what they're talking about. So he's done already. So we're going to end up getting to see Jordan Howding or Jonas Sanker now, the rookie. They didn't look in the free agent market, at least not yet. They didn't, at least not that I know of. They didn't give our guy, Saints legend Marcus Williams a call or nothing. But yeah, so the secondary, the Saints will be thin in their secondary. So a lot of people, definitely a lot of 49ers fans and people that are fans of the 49ers or just hate the Saints, definitely are talking about how like all these injuries to the 49ers gives the Saints a chance to win, and like that's the only reason. Well, I mean, the Saints have a lot of injuries themselves. And then you have tackle Talisi Fuaga, which they said it was a knee during, like as he came out of the game in the fourth quarter. But then you also heard some people after watching the All 22 and saw that Baring Browning and Josh Sweat kind of working him over in the fourth quarter to where he came out to where was it the knee or was it his play in the fourth quarter that led to him being pulled out of the game. But at least injury report, he's on the injury report with a knee, and he didn't practice Wednesday. But there was some improvement to that on Thursday and Friday where he was limited, but is listed as questionable. And then didn't really hear anyone talk too much about like his quality of play. Heard more him talk about him having like a trick knee. Sounded like he's got a trick knee, kind of similar to Ryan Ramczyk, to where it's something he's always gonna have to monitor and kind of take care of. So I didn't really like hearing that Talisi Fuaga has arthritis or a knee that he has to monitor for his entire career. Don't really love hearing that about a player that you drafted with the 10th or 11th pick overall just a year ago and was looked pretty good at left tackle, but now that he's moved back to right tackle, first game's having some issues. Hopefully it is just a little bruise or a bruise or something, and nothing mental and nothing serious injury wise. But yeah, he's listed as questionable. So that's kind of a coin flip 50-50 if he'll play. If it's mental and any sort of like contusion, bruise, knee contusion or anything like that, just go ahead and let it sit for another week. If you're at least were able to go through practice today on Friday, just give it another week. There's no reason to rush back, especially when the Saints are already dealing with some quite a few injuries at other positions, spots, and Saints starting the season 0-1. If the Saints somehow do find a way to win this game against the 49ers, people are going to be real upset that they weren't able to pull off the win against the Cardinals and start the season 1-0. But anyway, so going on to some more players that are still hurt. Tackle slash guard Trevor Penning, toe, which they said it was on the opposite toe that happened on his rookie year, and it wasn't as bad to where it needed surgery, and that it was just kind of a day-to-day, week-to-week type of thing. But now he's going on his second week without playing. He didn't practice all week and is out. So they talk about these injuries not being serious or they're just day to day, and then next thing you know, hell, they're getting close to missing 4 games to the point where you should have just went ahead and put them on PUP or IR already. And the one that's super comical here, the next one on this list is Chase Young, defensive end. That calf tightness, literally like 4 days before the season opener, and during interviews he was asked if it was serious, and he was like, hell no, like it ain't going to be any type of extended time. Yeah, well, going onto missing your second game, that's significant time to me, and that must be something more serious than hell no, don't worry about it, it's day to day. Yeah, right, because he didn't practice all week either and is out. And then you have a running back, which the only kind of positive to that is that the Saints were second in the league in sacks last week against the Cardinals with 5, even without him. So hopefully Carl Granderson, Cam Jordan can give you a duplicate seconds on that performance would be nice. And then you have running back Velais Jones Jr. knee was limited Wednesday and Thursday, and then was full Friday, no game status. Long snapper Zach Woods elbow was limited Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, but then was full Friday, has no game status. And then safety Jordan Howding oblique was full all week and has no game status. But that's a positive, seeing that he was full all week and looks to be pretty much fully healthy, Jordan Howding, because they're going to need him now with no Julian Blackmon for foreseeable future for the rest of the season, I'm guessing. So really no real big changes to the injury report besides the Julian Blackmon, and then we're not real sure what Talisi Fuaga is going to be, but it's real annoying, starting just right out week 1 where you can't have the same 22 starters week to week would be really nice. Can't even go a week, can't even go 2 weeks doing it before you're literally, it's like the whole roster. You got half a dozen starters are on your injury report. But anyways, so that's the Saints injury report. We'll get into it a little bit more in regards to like what we think that's going to lead to with MVPs and some hot takes and obviously the picks and scores. But let's get into the 49ers. injury report, which it's long, but there's some of these players that are on here are just not injury related. They're kind of just resting. But kind of my question to myself is, if it is kind of slash non-injury related slash kind of is an injury, like might as well, if you're missing your starting quarterback, you're missing your um, all pro tight end, your Pro Bowl wide receiver, like might as well just uh, kind of just sh ship it in, just fold this week playing the Saints. But anyways, let's get into their injury report. I didn't wait long enough for people over in the West Coast to give me the final Friday report, but I'm just going to assume that the report won't change much from Thursday to Friday and then on the game status. But we have defensive end Nick Bosa, not injury related, rest player, didn't practice Wednesday, but then was full on Thursday, and then I imagine he has really like no game status. And then we have defense, their other defensive end, Yatur Gross Matos, knee didn't practice Wednesday, but then was limited Thursday, and I imagine he's either upgraded to limited or full on Friday, and then maybe listed as questionable. And then we have wide receiver Juwan Jennings, shoulder, didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, and I think he's a player that's expected to miss like the next 2 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury and is probably just going to end up getting put on IR for the 49ers. So that would have been considered. Juwan Jennings would be considered Brock Purdy, who's not going to start anyways. More like Mac Jones's third option after 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 George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk are already missing this game. So it's like his top three options for Mac Jones aren't even going to be in this game with uh, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, and Brandon Ayuk. But he didn't practice all week and is out. And then you have running back Christian McCaffrey, which is kind of an interesting. This is kind of an interesting one to monitor because he has a calf injury too, similar to Chase Young. But I mean, you don't really know how serious it is, if it's as serious as his. But his is his calf, not injury related. Rest didn't practice Wednesday, but was full Thursday, and I imagine that he'll probably play. But like I was saying, I would be perfectly fine, and I would think it would be of the wiser for the 49ers just to go ahead and rest Nick Bosa, go ahead and rest Christian McCaffrey in this game. They don't need him against the Saints with their injured team as well. But probably expecting to see Christian McCaffrey. And then quarterback, this is where it gets kind of serious for the 49ers, dealing with not just one injury, but he's dealing with a left shoulder, but then he's also dealing with some turf toe that they're possibly more concerned about. But he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, and it's expected for him to probably be going on IR here pretty soon. And then you have a tackle, Trent Williams, knee, non-injury related resting player too. And another one didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, but like I said, I've said it about half a dozen times that I think it could be wise for the 49ers just to go ahead and rest Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and Nick Bosa, along with Juwan Jennings and Brock Purdy and George Kittle. I think that'd be okay. And then you have guard Ben Barch, knee, elbow, limited Wednesday and Thursday. And then you have running back Jordan James, finger, limited Wednesday and Thursday. Wide receiver Jordan Watkins, ankle, limited Wednesday and Thursday. And then you have linebacker Luke Gifford, knee, full all week. Quarterback Mac Jones, I'm guessing that's who's going to be the starter for the 49ers. It's looking like knee, and he was full all week, so expected to play. And then guard Dominic Punai, knee, full Wednesday and Thursday, and probably expected to play. So just the one comment about Mac Jones. The Saints have played Mac Jones 2 times since he's been in the league. I know if you go back to them, it was when Dennis Allen was the Saints either head coach or defensive coordinator. But in 2 games, the Saints have 5 interceptions against Mac Jones, with a pick six in each of them. So hopefully that carries over. There's some people out there saying like, the Saints might not get as many sacks that they did like they did against Kyler Murray, as if the pocket quarterback like hitting those open reads is something that Mac Jones can do better than what Kyler Murray can do, and with some of those Kyler Murray scrambles and runs that you see from him that he ends up running out of bounds for a 1 yard loss. He had about 2 of those that counted towards the Saints' 5 sacks last Sunday. So maybe we won't get that. Maybe he will, but I guess we'll see. But we've also seen in recent history that the Saints secondary has his number. All right, so that's the injury report. I think they're pretty comparable. I mean, the only argument you might be able to have there is, okay, yeah, they're starting quarterbacks on the injury report, but could you really say that, like, starter for starter, uh, Brock Purdy wasn't even close to being on the same level as Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shuck. So like it's not really even a fair comparison. I would say Mac Jones probably isn't really head and shoulders, or might be even better at this current period in his career than Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. So I'm not giving them I'm not giving uh, 49ers fans and media too much credit there, or giving them a one-off as if this is just, oh, the 49ers are hurt, so that's why they lost. No, the Saints are hurt too. All right, so that's enough of injury reports. Let's get into some MVP and some hot takes, and uh, finally give you the pick and score that I have for this game. But for the MVP for this, we went defense last week, and I think it hit pretty well with Carl Granderson getting a sack and a half and 2 pass deflections. I think you could easily have given it for your defensive MVP, or if you're just handing it out for one or the other. I think he did a good job filling in for Chase Young, and Cam Jordan had a resurgent, a vintage Cam Jordan performance in Chase Young's absence. So love that. But something I'm wanting to see now, I'm kind of going towards offense for this pick, and loved that I didn't see Chris Olave on this injury report for anything. Like I thought coming out of this game that he had maybe some type of lower body injury of some sort. And then at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, off that wide receiver screen, he took the big hit of thinking got some head injury or something. But the fact that that didn't show up uh, on on the Saints injury report, nothing about Chris Olave showed up on the Saints injury report, and that Chris Olave was able to survive through his first game back after last year, the 2 concussions last year, and him sitting out all the rest of the season last year. I'm going with Chris Olave to have uh, a, a resurgent. Let us know that Chris Olave is still here, even though he was targeted 13 times. He was targeted 13 times and caught 6 catches for like 54 yards last year. And he needs to get some depth on some of those catches, and I feel he's going to have a similar game to that with Spencer Rattler targeting his best option. Obviously, he felt Juwan Johnson with 11 targets and Chris Olave with 13 targets were definitely his best option. So I could see that happening again with like a dozen targets to Chris Olave with 8 catches and 100 yards. That would be enough to get his MVP for me, or his player of the game for this. And man, I know Chris Olave is not really a red zone threat, a huge red zone threat. He's never had more than like 5 touchdowns in his career. But if he could add a touchdown onto that, then there would really be no argument of who my player of the game offensively would be. But I want Chris Olave to go for 100 in this game would be nice. to let us know that he's back and he can get deep and he can catch some of these passes. He's got got kind of worked over a little bit in that game against the Cardinals, which would have added another 20 yards or so to his 50. Could have had 60, could have had 70, 75 yards. They didn't take that catch at the end of the game from him. So I'm looking for Chris Olave to get 100 yards receiving. All right, now and then hot takes. So going to the defense, we got concerns about the defense again with Chase Young missing his second game in a row of a day-to-day not serious injury, supposedly with his calf injury that he's dealing with. So I'm going to need the Saints defense to show out again. At least the pass rush is going to be able to get a little bit of heat on a somewhat compromised Mac Jones. He's got a bit of a knee injury, so he may not be quite as mobile as he usually is. So I'm going to need the Saints defense, not picking specifically either Cam Jordan or Carl Granderson or Pete Warner or any of those guys. But I just need the Saints defense to get three plus sacks in this game again, kind of like they did last week. They were second in the league with 5 sacks. So if they could get 3 or more, I think that would go a long way with keeping the Saints in this and giving them a chance to win this game. So that's what I'm going to need on defense. And then offensively, I'm just going to go ahead and call Talisi Fuaga out. I'm just going to go ahead and say that he's out of this game uh, for this game against the 49ers. I think it's smart for his mental if he was getting worked over a little bit by Baron Browning and Josh Sweat, but also if he does have any type of knee contusion or kneecap issue, go ahead and let him take care of that. Let him treat that and let him get that to 100% before we have to play some serious teams like the I don't even want to really call the Seahawks that serious. I didn't think Sam Darnold looked that good. But before we have to play like a serious team, like in the Bills or something, let that thing get 100%. So in that prediction or in that statement, I'm going to predict that we're going to see in a hot take, we're going to see Asim Richards start for Fuaga. And he's going to look good, actually. He's actually going to look good like he did at the end of the game against the Cardinals, where he gave the Saints and Spencer Rattler a chance. He gave him a chance to potentially tie it or take the lead with a 2-point conversion. So Asim Richards is going to start for Fuaga, and I think he's going to actually look decent, respectable for a guy that's coming over from the Cowboys for a 20, what is like for a 2020. No, it's like, yeah, for him, you traded a 2028 6 and a 2028 7 for him. But yeah, that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting Asim Richards to kind of show out again and give Spencer Rattler, give us a chance, kind of like the defense. They're going to give us a chance. That's all you can ask for as a Saints fan. That's all you can ask for as Spencer Rattler, at least for your defense and I guess your offensive line, is just give you a chance, to win this at the end. And that they had it last week, and with the injuries, I think this is a lot more fair and equal matchup, definitely. Considering both teams kind of have a lot of question marks with their quarterbacks, Saints due to inexperience and the 49ers due to injuries. But in this game, Saints versus the 49ers, I thought it was going to be quite a bit longer before I actually picked the Saints to win, because I thought like, man, I don't feel like I'm going to pick the Cardinals here, but obviously I don't think I'm going to pick them in the next 3 weeks. But hey, that feels like that's changed pretty quick, and the Saints had an impressive showing against the Cardinals. A more impressive, really not an impressive showing, but more impressive and respectable than what people thought. So because of that, because of the weapons, the missing skills position players for the 49ers and their starting quarterback and Brock Purdy, I'm actually picking the Saints to win this game. And they're going to win this game 17-16. And it's going to kind of be like reversed, reverses, roles are reversed in this game. So it's actually going to be the Saints defense getting the victory, the stop in this game that they need to win. And it's either going to be they're going to get a goal line stop so that the 49ers can't go up. What would that be? That would be 19-17. Or it's either going to be they allowed the touchdown, but then because the 49ers have all the injuries, they decide that, hey, we're going to go for two and try to win this 17-18. But the Saints defense, whether you call the special teams on defense or just the standard defense, is going to get a stop, and they're going to win this game for the Saints. So it's going to be another nail biter, but the Saints defense is going to keep this in this, and Asim Richards is going to be respectable. He's going to hold his own against Nick Bosa. I'm not saying he's going to completely go sackless or Spencer Rattler is only going to be sacked once in this game again, or he's not going to turn it over or throw an interception, but just going to give you a chance. And hopefully it gives the Saints defense a chance to get the stop and get the win. But anyways, I think that's about all I have for you this evening. So who dat? And can I get a check, please?